The quantum radar ping echoed through the bridge of the UES Hawking, breaking the routine silence of another research expedition near Saturn's rings. Lieutenant Sarah Chen froze at her sensor station, running the scan 3 more times to be certain. After 6 years of searching the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, humanity had finally found it. Or rather, it had found them. "Captain, multiple unknown vessels emerging from behind Titan," she reported, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Configuration doesn't match anything in our database." Captain Miguel Reyes straightened in his command chair, dark eyes fixed on the main display as it rendered the approaching ships in crisp holographic detail. Their design defied human engineering principles, crystalline structures that seemed to flow like liquid metal, pulsing with an inner light that the sensors couldn't quite classify. "How many?" he asked, already knowing this wasn't a peaceful first contact scenario. The unknown vessel's formation was too precise, too predatory. 7 ships, Captain. 6 smaller vessels in attack formation around what appears to be their command ship. Chen's fingers danced across her console. "They're accelerating toward us at 0.15 phi and charging weapon systems." The Hawking was officially a research vessel, but like all ships in the United Earth Fleet, it carried defensive capabilities. Humanity had learned the hard way that space was too vast and too unknown to send unprepared ships into the void. "All hands to battle stations," Rice commanded, his voice echoing through the ship's comm system. "Dr. Evans, what can you tell me about our visitors?" The ship's xenologist, Dr. James Evans, was already analyzing the sensor data, his augmented reality display filling with streams of information. "Energy signatures suggest technology far beyond our current capabilities, Captain. Their hull material appears to be some kind of crystalline matrix that can—" "Are those weapons locked on us?" Rice interrupted, focusing on the immediate threat. "Yes, sir," Chen confirmed. "Multiple energy weapons charging. They'll be in firing range in 40 seconds. Rice allowed himself a grim smile. The aliens clearly expected an easy victory against what they must perceive as primitive human technology. But humanity had developed its own tricks. "Helm, plot an escape vector through Saturn's rings. Lieutenant Chen, activate the QED." The quantum entanglement disruptor was humanity's ace in the hole, a defensive system that played havoc with advanced quantum-based technologies. It was theoretically primitive compared to what these aliens appeared to possess, but sometimes the simplest solutions were the most effective. The alien vessels struck first, lancing beams of coherent energy slicing through space toward the Hawking. But at the last moment, the human ship seemed to blur, the attacks passing harmlessly through its previous position. "QED active and performing as expected, Captain," Chen reported with satisfaction. "Their targeting systems can't get a proper lock on our quantum state." The alien ships faltered, clearly confused by their prey's ability to partially phase out of normal spacetime. It was a trick that only worked for short periods. The human body could only tolerate quantum uncertainty for so long, but it had bought them precious time. "Send a broad-spectrum transmission," Reyes ordered. "Let's see if they're interested in talking before this gets worse." Before the communications officer could comply, a harsh, metallic voice filled the bridge, accompanied by a holographic projection of a being that appeared to be made of living crystal. "Primitive vessel," it spoke in perfectly translated English, clearly having analyzed their communications protocols. "You demonstrate interesting capabilities for such an underdeveloped species. Surrender your vessel for study, and the Altarian Empire may find use for your kind as servants." Reyes stood, facing the projection with steel in his eyes. "This is Captain Miguel Reyes of the United Earth Ship Hawking. We have no interest in becoming servants. Leave our solar system immediately, or we will be forced to demonstrate just how interesting our capabilities are." The crystalline being's faceted surface rippled in what might have been amusement. "You believe you can challenge the Altarian Empire. Your particle-based weapons cannot penetrate our quantum crystalline hulls. Your destruction will serve as a lesson to—" Reyes cut the transmission with a sharp gesture. "Helm, take us into the rings. Lieutenant Chen, prepare to execute attack pattern Delta. The Hawking dove toward Saturn's rings, its TED leaving a confused trail of quantum distortions in its wake. The Altarian ships followed, their superior engines quickly closing the distance. But that was exactly what Reyes had counted on. Pattern Delta. Execute now. The Hawking's engines cut out completely, letting the ship's momentum carry it into the dense field of ice and rock that made up Saturn's rings. Simultaneously, it released a cloud of specially engineered nanomaterials, another primitive technology that was about to prove its worth. The pursuing Altarian ships plowed through the cloud before their sensors could identify the threat. The nanomaterials, attracted to the quantum crystalline hull structure, began their work immediately. Microscopic fractures appeared in the supposedly impenetrable alien hulls as the nanites exploited the very quantum nature of their construction. Direct hit, Chen reported with professional satisfaction. Their hull integrity is compromising at an exponential rate. The Altarian ship's perfect formation broke as they tried to escape the nanite cloud, but the damage was done. Their quantum crystalline hulls, once their greatest strength, were now being turned against them at the molecular level. The alien commander's voice crackled through their comms once more, but this time the translation carried notes of shock and rage. What manner of weapons are these? How can primitive technology? Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective, Reyes responded calmly. Return to your empire with this message. Earth is not interested in becoming anyone's servants. We prefer equal partnerships or none at all. The damaged Altarian ships retreated, their once beautiful crystalline forms now dulled and fractured. As they disappeared into deep space, Reyes knew this was only the beginning. The Altarian Empire would return, and next time they wouldn't underestimate humanity's potential for innovation. Send a priority transmission to Earth Command, he ordered. The galaxy just got a lot smaller, and we need to be ready. As the Hawking emerged from Saturn's rings, its hull glittering with ice crystals, humanity had just fought and won its first interstellar battle, not through overwhelming force or superior technology, but through ingenuity and the willingness to think differently. The Altarian Empire had learned a costly lesson. Never judge a species' capabilities by their apparent level of technological advancement. The age of human isolation was over. The era of galactic politics had begun, and humanity had announced its presence with a declaration that would echo across the stars. Underestimate us at your peril. 3 months after the Saturn incident, Earth's orbital shipyards hummed with unprecedented activity. The encounter with the Altarian Empire had galvanized humanity's industrial and scientific communities into action. But rather than trying to match the aliens' quantum crystalline technology, they were taking a drastically different approach. Commander Diana Walsh stood in the observation deck of the Luna Defense Station, watching as construction drones swarmed around the hull of humanity's newest vessel. Unlike the sleek, crystalline designs of the Altarian ships, the UES Artemis looked almost crude, its hull deliberately constructed to appear as if it had been cobbled together from spare parts. It looks like something out of a post-apocalyptic movie, remarked Dr. James Evans, the xenologist from the Hawking, who had been reassigned to the defense project. The Altarians will definitely underestimate it. That's exactly the point, Diana replied, her green eyes reflecting the flashes of welding sparks. Their entire civilization is built on quantum crystalline technology. They literally cannot conceive of different paths of advancement. Our primitive approach will be our greatest advantage. The Artemis represented humanity's response to the Altarian threat, not by trying to catch up to their technology level, but by developing in completely unexpected directions. Its hull was composed of layered metamaterials that could absorb and redirect energy, while its weapon systems relied on principles that the Altarians had long ago dismissed as inefficient. Latest intel suggests they're massing a fleet near Proxima Centauri, Evans said, scrolling through his neural display. Multiple capital ships this time. They're not taking any chances after what happened to their scout fleet. Diana nodded grimly. The Altarians' humiliation at Saturn had guaranteed a massive response. But Earth had used the intervening months wisely. "How are the smoke mirror arrays coming along?" Evans grinned. "Successfully tested yesterday. The quantum interference patterns they generate are beautiful, in a chaotic sort of way. The Altarians won't know what hit them." A flash of light from the shipyard drew their attention as the Artemis's main weapon was installed, the relativity cannon, a device that didn't rely on exotic energy beams or quantum effects, but rather on good old-fashioned physics taken to extreme levels. "Command wants us ready for launch in 48 hours, Diana said, turning away from the window. The advanced probes detected their fleet jumping between star systems. They're being cautious, but they're definitely coming. The next day, as Diana conducted final inspections of the Artemis's systems, an urgent alert echoed through the station. The Altarian fleet had been detected entering the Kuiper Belt, much sooner than expected. "All hands to battle stations," Diana ordered as she strode onto the bridge of the Artemis. "Begin deployment of the smoke mirror arrays. Let's see how they handle fighting blind." The smoke mirror defense system was humanity's latest innovation, a network of satellites that generated overlapping fields of quantum interference, creating a sort of fog of war that played havoc with Altarian sensors and communications. As the alien fleet approached, their formation was perfect, their quantum crystalline hulls gleaming in the distant sunlight. But this time, humanity was ready. The moment they entered the outer defense perimeter, the smoke mirrors activated. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The precise Altarian formation began to waver as their quantum-based sensors encountered zones of artificial uncertainty. Their ships, so reliant on quantum entanglement for coordination, started to lose coherence with each other. "Altarian command ship is broadcasting," reported Lieutenant Sarah Chen, newly promoted and transferred to the Artemis. "They're demanding we shut down our primitive interference devices or face annihilation." Diana allowed herself a small smile. "Send no response. Prepare the relativity cannon for demonstration." The Artemis's main weapon was deceptively simple in principle. It accelerated ordinary matter to velocities so close to light speed that relativistic effects came into play. The Altarians, with their focus on quantum manipulation, had never considered the potential of pure kinetic energy weaponry. "Target their flagship," Diana ordered. "Let's show them what primitive technology can do." The relativity cannon fired, launching a stream of accelerated particles that, due to relativistic effects, carried far more energy than the Altarian sensors initially detected. Their quantum crystalline shields, calibrated for energy weapons and quantum attacks, proved inadequate against this brute force approach. The impact was spectacular. The Altarian flagship's perfect crystalline structure shattered, its quantum fields collapsing as conventional physics reasserted itself. The rest of their fleet, already disoriented by the smoke mirrors, fell into disarray. Multiple Altarian vessels attempting emergency quantum jumps, Chen reported. But the interference fields are causing their jump calculations to fail. They're trapped in normal space. Diana opened a channel to the remaining Altarian ships. "This is Commander Diana Walsh of the UES Artemis. Your quantum technology is impressive, but as you can see, it's not the only path to the stars. Withdraw now, or we'll be forced to demonstrate more of our primitive solutions." The response came not in words but in actions. The Altarian fleet, for the first time in their recorded history, retreated in disarray. Their perfect formation was broken, their confidence shattered along with their flagship. As the alien ships disappeared into the outer solar system, Diana turned to Evans. "Their entire society is built around the idea that quantum manipulation is the pinnacle of technology. How do you think they'll handle discovering they're wrong?" Evans shook his head. "They'll either adapt or they'll double down on their beliefs. Either way, I don't think this is over." "No," Diana agreed, watching the tactical display as the last Altarian ship vanished from sensor range. "But next time, they'll know better than to dismiss human ingenuity. Sometimes the old ways, the primitive ways, can overcome even the most advanced technology. The Artemis held position as cleanup crews began collecting debris from the battle. Fragments of quantum crystalline hull that would provide valuable insight into Alterian technology. But more valuable than any physical salvage was the psychological victory. Humanity had proven that there were many paths to the stars, and being technologically different didn't mean being inferior. The coming days would bring more challenges, but humanity had shown it was ready to face them, not by copying their adversaries, but by forging their own unique path to the future. Admiral Marcus Chen stared at the holographic display showing Jupiter's swirling storms, his expression as turbulent as the gas giant's atmosphere. The Alterians had returned, just as expected, but their approach was different this time. Gone was the crystalline perfection of their previous formations, replaced by a more cautious, adaptive strategy. "They're learning," he murmured, watching as the massive Alterian fleet took up positions around Jupiter's moons. "Good. That means they can change." The bridge of the UES Hyperion, humanity's newest flagship, hummed with quiet activity. The ship represented the next evolution in human military technology, not an attempt to copy Alterian quantum tech, but rather a fusion of multiple primitive approaches that had proven surprisingly effective. Latest intel from the Europa outpost, reported Commander Diana Walsh, now serving as Chen's XO. The Alterians have developed some kind of hybrid technology. They're combining their quantum crystalline systems with conventional materials. Chen nodded grimly. "They're adapting to our tactics, but that's exactly what we wanted, to force them out of their technological comfort zone." The human fleet was scattered throughout Jupiter's system, hiding among the gas giant's numerous moons and within its radiation belts. Standard doctrine would have called for consolidating their forces, but humanity had learned that unpredictability was their greatest weapon against the Alterians. Message from the Alterian command ship, announced Lieutenant Rodriguez from communications. "They're requesting a parley." Chen raised an eyebrow. This was new. "Put them through." The holographic image that appeared was different from their previous encounters. Instead of a pure crystalline being, the Alterian commander appeared as a hybrid, parts of their form still crystalline, but other sections clearly modified with more conventional materials. "Admiral Chen." The alien's voice carried none of the previous contempt they'd come to expect. "I am High Commander Vextra. We have reassessed our previous assumptions about human capabilities." "Have you now?" Chen kept his tone neutral. "Yet you bring an invasion fleet to our solar system." "The Empire cannot appear weak," Vextra replied. "But perhaps there is room for alternative approaches. Your species has forced us to question beliefs we held for millennia." Chen shared a quick glance with Diana. This was an unexpected development, but they couldn't afford to lower their guard. "Your actions will speak louder than words, Commander. What exactly are you proposing?" Before Vextra could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Diana called out. "They're attempting to surround our position." Chen's expression hardened. "So much for parley. All ships, execute Operation Thunderstorm." The trap had been sprung, but not the one the Alterians had planned. As their fleet moved to encircle the human forces, the true nature of humanity's scattered deployment became clear. Each human ship had been strategically positioned to take advantage of Jupiter's unique properties. "Activate the gravity pulse generators," Chen ordered. "Let's show them why we chose this battlefield." Dozens of devices, previously hidden among Jupiter's moons, activated simultaneously. They weren't weapons in the traditional sense. Rather, they were tools designed to manipulate Jupiter's already complex gravitational fields. The effect on the Alterian fleet was devastating. Their quantum crystalline hulls, even modified with conventional materials, relied on precise atomic alignment. The fluctuating gravitational waves played havoc with these structures, causing cascading failures throughout their fleet. "They're trying to compensate," Diana reported, watching as the Alterian ships struggled to maintain formation. But their hybrid systems are actually making things worse. The conventional materials are responding differently to the gravity waves than their quantum components. Chen opened a channel to Vextra. Your adaptation was admirable, Commander, but incomplete. You tried to graft conventional technology onto your existing systems without fully understanding the implications. The Altarian commander's image flickered as their ship's systems struggled against the gravitational assault. How? How did you know this would work? Because we started with the fundamentals, Chen replied. We didn't assume any technology was superior. We learned to use everything at our disposal. A lesson your empire seems to be learning the hard way. The battle that followed was unlike anything either species had experienced. The human fleet, using Jupiter's radiation belts as cover, launched a series of coordinated attacks. Their weapons were a mix of conventional, relativistic, and gravity-based systems, each chosen specifically to exploit different weaknesses in the Altarians' hybrid technology. But the Altarians fought back with desperate innovation, attempting to adapt their tactics on the fly. Ships that could still function tried to use Jupiter's gravity to their advantage, turning the human strategy against them. Their quick studies, Diana noted as an Altarian cruiser successfully used a gravity wave to boost its maneuverability. This isn't the same force we faced before. No, Chen agreed. They're becoming something new, and that's exactly what we hoped for. The battle raged for hours, with Jupiter's massive bulk serving as both battlefield and weapon. Human ships darted between the planet's moons, using their smaller size and better understanding of gravitational dynamics to outmaneuver their larger opponents. The Altarians, for their part, showed remarkable adaptation, each defeat teaching them new ways to combine their quantum technology with conventional physics. Finally, as both fleets had suffered significant losses, Vextra's voice came through once more. Admiral Chen, we request a ceasefire. Chen studied the tactical display. The Altarian fleet was in disarray, but not defeated. More importantly, they had shown the ability to learn and adapt. Exactly what humanity had been pushing for. Ceasefire granted, he responded. Perhaps now we can have that discussion about alternative approaches. As the human and Altarian fleets disengage, maintaining a wary distance from each other against Jupiter's majestic backdrop, Chen turned to Diana. Contact Earth Command. Tell them Phase 3 was successful. They fought well, Diana observed. Better than in previous engagements. They did, Chen agreed, because for the first time, they weren't just fighting to win. They were fighting to understand. Sometimes, the greatest victory isn't destroying your enemy, but helping them evolve. The Battle of Jupiter, as it would come to be known, marked a turning point not just in the war, but in the relationship between humans and Altarians. It was the moment when the Altarian Empire began to truly question its assumptions about technological superiority, and when humanity proved that innovation wasn't about having the most advanced technology, but about understanding how to use all technology effectively. The quantum wake detection system aboard the UES Magellan lit up like a festival display. Commander Diana Walsh studied the readings with practiced ease, a slight smile playing at the corners of her mouth. The Altarian supply convoy was right where their intelligence said it would be, following their predictably precise quantum jump patterns. Status of the Ghost Fleet? She asked, eyes still fixed on the tactical display. Lieutenant Sarah Rodriguez, her tactical officer, responded promptly. All drones in position, Commander. Quantum signature mimics are stable and broadcasting. The Ghost Fleet was humanity's latest innovation. Unmanned vessels that produced false quantum signatures identical to human warships. They were simple devices really based on the same principles as the smoke mirror technology, but their psychological impact on Altarian commanders had proven invaluable. Begin Phase 1, Diana ordered. Let's remind them why they should have secured these shipping lanes better. The Ghost Fleet activated, their false signatures suggesting a massive human battle group emerging from hyperspace. The Altarian convoy reacted exactly as predicted. Their escort ships moved to intercept the perceived threat. leaving gaps in their defense screen. "Launch strike teams," Diana commanded. "Keep our actual signature masked until the last possible moment." The Magellan's hull concealed a dozen smaller craft, hybrid vessels that combined human ingenuity with reversed-engineered Alterian technology. These strike craft shot out from hidden launch bays, their profiles barely registering on sensors thanks to metamaterial cloaking. "Strike teams reporting ready," Rodriguez announced. "The convoy hasn't detected them yet." Diana nodded. "Execute Phase 2. Let's show them our new tricks." The strike craft activated their newest weapon system, the quantum phase disruptors. Unlike their previous anti-quantum weapons that caused general interference, these were precisely calibrated to match the exact frequency of Alterian quantum crystalline technology. The result was spectacular. As the strike craft approached their targets, the Alterian ship's quantum fields began to unravel in specific controlled ways. Propulsion, weapons, and communications failed in cascade, leaving the massive cargo vessels helpless. "Multiple Alterian distress calls detected," Rodriguez reported. "Their escort ships are realizing the Ghost Fleet was a diversion, but they're too far out of position to respond effectively." Diana opened a channel to the convoy. "Attention Alterian vessels. This is Commander Walsh of the UES Magellan. Your ships are disabled, and your escorts are otherwise occupied. I suggest you prepare for boarding." The response came from an Alterian captain whose holographic image showed signs of the Empire's recent adaptations, crystalline features interwoven with more conventional materials. "You dare to board Imperial vessels. Even disabled, our internal security systems will." "Will what?" Diana interrupted. "Rely on the quantum crystalline architecture we just disabled. Check your internal sensors, Captain. I think you'll find them rather unresponsive." The Alterian's expression shifted as reports presumably confirmed Diana's words. How are you doing this? Our quantum technology is impressive but predictable." Diana finished for him. "You've started adapting, incorporating conventional technologies, but you're still thinking in quantum terms. We've moved beyond that. We're combining technologies in ways you haven't even considered." As if to demonstrate her point, the human strike teams began their boarding operations. Their suits were a marvel of hybrid technology, part conventional armor, part quantum field manipulator, and part metamaterial stealth system. They passed through the Alterian ship's remaining defenses like ghosts. "Security breach in Cargo Vault 3. An Alterian voice called out in panic. They're walking through our containment fields." Diana allowed herself a small smile. The boarding teams were using portable versions of the quantum phase disruptors, allowing them to selectively disable any quantum-based technology they encountered. It was like having a universal key to every lock in the Alterian security system. "Your cargo will be confiscated," she informed the Alterian captain. "Consider this a lesson in the importance of adapting your security protocols. Quantum technology isn't enough anymore. You need to think in multiple dimensions." The operation was over in less than an hour. The human strike teams secured critical military supplies and technical data, while leaving the Alterian crews unharmed but thoroughly humbled. As the Magellan prepared to depart with its captured cargo, Diana received an unexpected transmission from the Alterian captain. "Commander Walsh," he said, his tone markedly different from before. "You could have destroyed our ships, but you didn't. Why?" Diana considered her response carefully. "Because this isn't about destruction, Captain. It's about evolution. Every time we demonstrate a new way to counter your technology, you're forced to innovate, to think differently. That's what we want. Not to defeat you, but to help you grow beyond your technological orthodoxy." The Alterian was silent for a moment. "The Empire, we have believed for so long that our path was the only path to advancement. But your species, you show us there are other ways, other possibilities. That's the greatest weapon humanity has," Diana replied. "Not our technology, but our ability to imagine different solutions, to combine seemingly incompatible ideas into something new. The question is, can the Altarian Empire learn to do the same? As the Magellan jumped away with its captured prizes, Diana knew that this raid, like others before it, served a greater purpose than mere resource acquisition. Each encounter pushed the Altarians further from their rigid technological doctrine, forcing them to confront new possibilities and adapt in ways their civilization had resisted for millennia. The war was evolving, becoming less about military victory and more about catalyzing cultural and technological change within the Altarian Empire. It was a subtle form of warfare that few in human history had attempted, not to destroy an enemy, but to transform them through persistent challenge and demonstration of alternative paths. The vast chamber of the Altarian High Council gleamed with crystalline splendor, but changes were evident in its once pure quantum architecture. Conventional materials now merged seamlessly with the traditional crystal structures, creating something entirely new, much like the Altarian civilization itself. Admiral Marcus Chen stood before the council, the first human ever invited to do so. Beside him, Commander Diana Walsh and the rest of the diplomatic team tried not to show their amazement at the hybrid technology surrounding them. The chamber itself was a testament to how far the Altarians had come. High Commander Vextra, now bearing the scars of multiple adaptations and modifications, addressed the council. Honored members, we gather today to acknowledge a truth that many of us have long resisted. The path of pure quantum technology is not the only road to the stars. Murmurs rippled through the assembled Altarian leadership. Some bore the traditional pure crystalline forms, while others showed various degrees of technological hybridization. The divide was physical evidence of the philosophical schism that humanity had deliberately created. For 10,000 years, Vextra continued, we believed our quantum crystalline technology represented the peak of possible advancement. We dismissed other species as primitive, believing their different technological paths marked them as inferior. The humans proved us wrong. Chen stepped forward when indicated. We didn't come to your space seeking conflict, he began. But when confronted with your certainty in quantum supremacy, we saw an opportunity not for victory, but for transformation. The Admiral gestured to a holographic display that materialized in the center of the chamber. It showed the progression of the war, from the first encounter at Saturn to the latest hybrid vessels that both species now fielded. Every time you thought you had countered our primitive technology, we showed you another way of combining different approaches. When you adapted, we adapted further. This wasn't just warfare. It was education. Diana activated her neural interface, sharing technical data with the council. Your quantum technology is incredible, she added. But by believing it was the only valid path, you limited yourselves. Look at what you've achieved in just 2 years of thinking differently. The display shifted to show the latest Altarian innovations, ships that seamlessly merged quantum fields with conventional physics, weapons that combine multiple technological approaches, and defenses that no single system could penetrate. An elder council member, their crystalline form still pure and traditional, raised an objection. You deliberately provoked us, forced us to change. How is this not an act of aggression? Because we never sought to destroy you, Chen replied calmly. We could have shared our technology, formed an alliance based on military power. Instead, we chose to challenge you, to make you question your assumptions. The changes you've made came from your own innovation, your own realization that there are multiple paths to advancement. Vextra nodded in agreement. The humans have shown us that true strength lies not in technological superiority, but in technological diversity. Their primitive solutions, combined with our quantum science, have created possibilities we never imagined. The chamber's display filled with images of joint human-Altarian projects already underway. Research stations where scientists from both species collaborated, shipyards producing vessels that represented the best of both civilizations, and defense systems that incorporated multiple technological paradigms. We propose a new kind of alliance, Chen continued. Not one based on military necessity or technological exchange, but on shared exploration of possibilities. Humanity brings its adaptability and innovative thinking, while the Altarian Empire brings its deep understanding of quantum science. The council chamber erupted in discussion, crystalline forms shimmering with varying emotions. Diana watched the interplay with satisfaction, remembering the arrogant species that had once dismissed humanity as primitive. "There will be resistance," she murmured to Chen. "Change is never easy, especially for a civilization as old as theirs." "True," Chen replied quietly. "But they've already changed more than they realize. Look at them. They're actually debating ideas now, not just assuming they know the right path." Finally, the council reached its decision. The chamber's quantum field harmonized, a traditional sign of consensus. Vextra turned to the human delegation, their hybrid form catching the light in ways pure crystal never could. "The Altarian Empire accepts your proposal," they announced formally, "not as superior and inferior species, but as equals with different strengths to contribute. The war between us is officially over. Let a new age of collaboration begin." As the human delegation prepared to depart, an elderly Altarian counselor approached Chen privately. "You knew, didn't you?" they asked. "From the very beginning, this was your real strategy." Chen smiled diplomatically. "We recognize that your civilization's greatest weakness wasn't your technology, but your certainty that it was the only valid path. Sometimes the greatest gift we can offer another species is the challenge to grow beyond their assumptions." The counselor's crystalline form shifted in what Chen had learned to recognize as thoughtful acknowledgement. "Through conflict, you taught us peace. Through challenge, you brought us growth. Perhaps humans are not so primitive after all." "No species is primitive," Chen replied. "We just walk different paths to the same destination, the stars themselves, and all the wonders they hold." As the human delegation departed the Altarian capital world, their ships now escorted by hybrid vessels that represented the future of both civilizations, Diana turned to Chen on the bridge of the Hyperion. "Mission accomplished, Admiral." Chen watched as an Altarian ship effortlessly merged quantum and conventional technologies in a maneuver that would have been impossible 2 years ago. "More than accomplished, Commander. We didn't just win a war. We helped an entire civilization transcend its limitations." The stars stretched into streaks of light as the combined fleet jumped to hyperspace, human and Altarian ships flying together into a future that neither species could have imagined alone. They had all learned the same lesson. True advancement comes not from insisting on one path, but from having the courage to explore them all.